I mean, there is enough, more than enough wealth of evidence for us to trigger our own. I thought, so we've actually gone past that first step because Iyoko says they are looking into it. OSP also says they are looking into it. So that's the right way to go. But now I'm also hearing the public asking for a public inquiry. You see how these are laws work? I think even though on paper we can do the public inquiry and still go ahead with the criminal prosecutions, because our systems are weak. You know, there is a small, let me say, gray area in the commissions of inquiry CI that if you do the public inquiry and they bring any evidence there, right? You cannot use that evidence to prosecute them. That's these persons we are asking here and there. The people we are talking about, government official 1, presidential relative, government official 2, all the people. When we bring them before a commission of inquiry, after they've spoken, we cannot use that same evidence to now go into the criminal court to prosecute them. The law says we have to find our own independent evidence. So, and that's why if you are not careful, you remember the Ghana at 5010, Rekubrobe, Kojompianim, etc. Even though at that time that was under the old law, but the moment they went and testified before the Commission of Inquiry, they practically got immunity. We couldn't prosecute. Later, we clarified the law to show that the CI, Commissions of Inquiry, we can find our own independent evidence. But what I'm saying is that if you let these people come and talk, and a lot of the things they say are also in our own independent evidence, they will say, no, it is what they brought to the commissions of inquiry that we have used against them. So I think at this stage, we will be better served by holding on. The commission of inquiry under Article 278, etc., would not help us practically at this stage. Rather, it's going to set the stage seriously for people to escape with murder. Yes, people will escape because of the practical challenge I've mentioned. So for now, let's see how we can get Yoko, and I'll trust Yoko more because, and I like what Professor Agyapong said, that just like I started crying that, why couldn't Kisi Agyapong shout when Ofori Atta was fleeing? You see this matter, Martin Amidu says he started investigations on it. Then Kisi Agyapong came to continue. And then Kisi Agyapong shelved it. You see, we've been saying that he's been suppressing cases. So for a long time, he was not reporting on this Asante Bediatuo case. He wasn't reporting on it until now. This matter has come up again. So you see that Kisi Agyapong has lost our trust. You can't have this. I don't know why President Mahama is entertaining these people who are begging him to protect Kisi Agyapong. You see, Kisi Agyapong became special prosecutor. He sat on the case. He suppressed it. There are a lot of other cases he suppressed.
In his statement, he said he was assisting the U.S. authorities in this particular issue. I'm sure you've seen the statement from his office.
Yes, that's not an excuse. That's not. So whilst he was assisting, what did he do? What did he do about the Ghanaian component? What did he do about the Ghanaian component? You check. You see, the law says that he should give updates.
Okay, gentlemen, please end the point. You were.
Yeah, the law says that he should give updates on cases that are being investigated, right? What I'm saying is that you should check all the updates he was giving, whether after a while this Asante Bediatuo case was part. It wasn't part, he suppressed it.
No.
You see, that's a key point I'm making. So though it is the case that he has the mandate OSP, but because of the trust issues, Ofori Atta, this case, other cases is suppressed. You cannot trust Kisi Agyapong to do an impartial investigation. No, he was put there to do somebody's bidding. The person is out of office, and we trust that this same person can continue to investigate. No. So though Iyoko is not the front and center of corruption investigations, but because of what OSP Kisi Agyapong especially is done, you see that now Ioko is forced to do it because we can't trust him. He suppressed the case. That's the key thing we should be looking. So if you had even said public inquiry, then the special prosecutor would have been the first person you call before the public inquiry to find out what.
Yes, you don't support the call for the public and commission of inquiry. You would rather Ioko would lead the investigation into this matter.
Yes, and then OSP has to support, because when it comes to going to court, very soon there can be a tough war as to who has to present the case. So the key thing is that once in the Noah Adamte case, the Supreme Court says that Dr. Ayine, the Attorney General, can supervise the special prosecutor. Yes, let Ioko be fully involved in the investigations, and then when the case is going to court, yes, special prosecutor can go, as long as Ayine is in supervising, so that we'll be sure that justice will be done, because the case has been compromised. Mr. Okansi, did you see Martin Amidu's write-up?
Yes, we have it here. I mean,
yes, you see it. So where Amidu was rather even calling on President Mahama that he should release the thing. So we see that what is actually happening is that it's Kisi who sat on it. It's Kisi who sat on it, because if you are the special prosecutor, has he said he wants to go ahead with that case, and then it turned out that JM is the one sitting on the case, and so bring it out. You see the thing, bring it out, because Amidu is saying that the thing is with JM. But as far as we are concerned, it's with Kisi Agyapong. You are in the office. Kisi Agyapong is the occupant of the office. Has he brought it out and anybody, what do you call it, stopped him? Or is it a case that because people went to beg JM to protect Kisi Agyapong, he sees that, oh, then because this one will affect NDC officials, you see the game, so then he would suppress it. You see the game that's being played on us. That's the game. That is the game.
No, you wanted to make a quick thing, because Professor Agyapong will have his quick.
Did I say more?
Yes.
I think it would be.
No.
Did I say more?
No, don't say it. No, it's okay.
No, I mean, no, see, he was making a point today, and you wanted to make a quick intervention.
Yes,
I have to conclude.
think about the commissions of inquiry.
Yes.
Okay, we need to make this point clear. Commissions of inquiry are set up to get information, and usually they are used for situations where no prosecution is necessary. For instance, if you want to find out our history, about maybe the coups, and what initiated them or whatever it is, you can ask people, those who are living or those who know something, to come and give that information. But you promise them that none of the information you give will be used in prosecuting you.
Okay.
That is usually for eliciting relevant history. Okay. In Ghana, we have abused them and used them in other situations where people have committed crimes. Now, commissions of inquiry are not the right place to go when you have crimes that have been committed that should be prosecuted. We have criminal investigations departments in our police force. Question: the issue we are dealing with, has a crime been committed? Answer: yes, it has been proven. We have Economic and Organized Crimes Commission, IOCO. Is this an economic crime? Yes. Is it an organized crime? Yes. IOCO has jurisdiction, they can investigate it. We have Office of the Special Prosecutor. Is this something that can be prosecuted? Yes, they have jurisdiction. We have the Attorney General's Department. Can he do it? Yes. I've named 4 institutions currently existing, staffed with people being paid, who should go into this matter and investigate it properly. And if we find that people are culpable, like the US people did, you prosecute them. So there should be no question of commission of inquiry here. We are not looking for historical facts which have no criminal elements. What has happened is criminal. So let's be clear about that. Let's not confuse anybody. There's no issue of commissions of inquiry. Let's investigate quickly, establish if there's culpability, and proceed to prosecute.
It was a call the NPP made.
Yes, and I'm saying it's a wrong call.
The
public and over here it's come up. So probably sometimes
I don't know whether it's so commissioner. Let me be honest with you. I don't easily trust all these politicians, because in this matter, Both of them are inside.
Senor, hold on.
NDC and NPP are all inside.
Let's do this.
How do we
Commission of Inquiry?
No, that's fine. Let's exclude it.
Thank you.
How about a sole commissioner?
It doesn't matter. The investigative bodies are there. I've named 4. They should investigate.
So you don't support the call for
Absolutely.
public inquiry?
The investigation is not in dispute.
Let me do this quickly. The former member of parliament for the Medina constituency, Alhaji Ahmadu Sorogo, who was the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament when this AXA deal came before the House, is on the telephone right now. Alhaji, good morning.
Yes.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now,
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. First of all, you earlier sent a message about not traveling to Turkey. You were not part of the 5 people who traveled. So who went? The technical committee. Who went?
Do I know the technical committee? Technical committee is not from Parliament. Technical, we are members of Parliament. You see, what is paining me is that it has been discussed as if this is the fact, that it has been established that such a person took this money and then refused to do his or her job and then resulted in Ghana being given a raw deal. And that is why I'm saying that a technical committee has nothing to do with Parliament. Parliament, a report is sent from the government, to Parliament. Mr. Speaker will go through it and refer it to the appropriate committee. This was referred to my committee, made up of 18 members, MPs from both sides, the NPP, the NDC, supported by our clerk, our deputy clerk, and the staff. We sit down, we invite people, technical people, those who know, to come and help us. So please, that none, I don't know, technical men are from the various stakeholders. It has nothing to do with Parliament. It has nothing to do with MPs. It comes to us, we go through based on what we know. We invite people, they come, they help us, including ASEC and what have you. And I'm surprised, I don't know whether I ever met my brother who was talking as to whether he also came to us and advised, because the information that I'm hearing is that he advised and we didn't take the advice. I don't know.
That's the Africa Center for Energy Policy. Did you meet them? No, did ASEP come before you and raise concerns about this deal at the time you were considering it?
We are talking about 12 years, 11 years ago. I don't remember. It's possible because a lot of other people came in. We debated it. They brought their views. We also, at the end of the day, we all arrived by consensus. It wasn't something that somebody said, no, I'm not going to agree. No, mind you, we were in crisis. That doesn't mean that we should do shoddy work, not at all. And so the work of Parliament, referring the committee to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy, of which I chair, K.T. Hammond was my ranking, Mutawakil, the current MD for Ghana Water, was my vice, and then Enin was the deputy ranking, plus very prominent MPs. We sat down, not that we rushed through, and at the end of the day, we reported to the plenary, the entire Parliament. Mind you, whatever that we report is not binding. So in Parliament, there were a lot of contributions, additions, subtractions, and at the end of the day, it was ratified. Where is the crime? How can that Beko, whether he is green, whether he is black, whether he is tall, I don't know him, I've never met him, and I don't think any of my members, I can't talk for them, but as far as I'm concerned, as the chairman then, there was nothing like that.
So Alhaji, I want you to,
my brother.
Yes, speak. I mean, for yourself, because you are here. You say you haven't met.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. You haven't met Beko. Wait. I can vouch that as the chairman, there was nothing. I never received any money. And some of them, if you read the report, that the money was paid after ratification. Some say the money was paid before ratification. I was waiting to get the full complement of the judgment because I can't take it anymore. I have built a reputation and I'm prepared to defend it. I have not taken a peso from anybody to do any sort of work. I did my work as a Ghanaian, as the chairman of the committee. I gathered it and we all came together. If at the end of the day there is a problem, why are you people not also thinking that it's possible that that bank could have used our names to go and collect whatever money he wants to collect?
But you see, that's one side of the issue. The other side is that,
yes.
And I'm coming, but to the extent of how this deal, the path it took in Parliament, it also raises questions. You know, this report by the technical committee came before you. Within a day, your committee approved this deal. I mean, if we were in an emergency situation, which was the case, did you have to sacrifice some level of due diligence and accuracy for speed? Within one day, you are done with your work, you send it to plenary. Why?
I'm happy you said that we were in an emergency and you heard the cries of every Ghanaian. Yeah, I don't know. You heard the cry of every Ghanaian. We were in an emergency. We did our work. Look, you can even stay for 1 month, 2 months, and still come out with a very bad report. It depends upon the clarity and the people around helping us. And so as far as we are concerned, if you are saying that the time was short, why?
I'm talking about one day to do a work like
this. Nobody, as far as I'm concerned. How can 46,000, if any short?
No, wait, Alhaji, I'm saying, would you say you did a good job in reviewing the technical committee's report, looking at all the issues that you say you invited all other body CSOs, before you, and within a day you were able to review their concerns as a committee, and within a day you approved of their work? Did you do a good job?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we did what was supposed to be done under the emergency period. We did what we were supposed to have been done to do during the emergency period, and we sent it to the plenary. The plenary also had every right to look at it critically and then come out with their comments. And exactly that is what happened. What I want to say is that nobody, as far as I'm concerned, I never took a peso from anybody because I don't even know that Bekun. I've never met him, and nobody came to me as the chairman. And so please, when we are talking, as if it is something that is a fact, as if the money was handed over to us or to me, I'm not happy with it. And that is why I said I need to clarify. Nobody did that, as far as I'm concerned.
At least, but hearing what has come out now with the U.S. report and what has led to the conviction of this gentleman, and you were the chairman of the committee, would you say, based on the information that has now been verified, which has led to his conviction, you still stand by the fact that you did a good job?
Let me. Maybe there is one point that you are also missing. Was the judgment attacking the report, the contract, or the judgment was attacking the process through which the AXA got the contract? I don't want to go. I just called to clarify.
Yes, but Alhaji, regarding the agreement itself, questions were raised because you say you spoke to, well, you don't remember that ASAP appeared before you as a committee, but at the time, in 12 years ago. It's okay. In 2015, when all of this was going on, I remember speaking to ASAP. They raised the concerns about the cost per kilowatt that was contained in this agreement. And this was a time that the committee, your committee, was considering this deal, did you have any issues about the cost that we were buying per kilowatt for this agreement?
You know, under emergencies, and I'm not a technical man. I'm not a technical man. MPs work based on advice from technical men, those who have been paid to do the detailed work down there. People were sent to Turkey, technical men. They come, a report is generated. Based on that report, it is brought to us under emergency. Mind you, this was a time that you and I, everybody, including all of you sitting on the table, were all concerned about the Dumso situation. Of course, that doesn't mean that you should do a short work. And so based on that understanding and with the limited knowledge that we had, we thought that we had done a good job. And that is why we sent the report. If after that, it comes out that, look, there could have been a better negotiated agreement, fair. I mean, we stand to be corrected and we move forward. But under the circumstances, I just want to repeat that, yes, we thought we had done a good job. We, as far as I'm concerned, no money was paid to any of us. I can't say from them, but me as the chairman, I never received any money. And I also believe strongly that my ranking, my vice, and my deputy ranking, and the entire membership, I don't think any of them.
But Alaj, if they receive money, how would you know? I mean, and you say this 46,000. You wouldn't know. So why are you saying that you are sticking out your neck?
I think, I hope, and think that nothing like that happens because I am the chairman. And if they receive money, you can't receive money when you cannot influence the outcome. If you are a member and you alone go and you take money, you cannot come and impose your ideas on the entire committee. And then going to the plenary. That is why I think I'm not vouching for anybody. And I believe myself. And I know that nothing of that nature as far as I'm concerned.
So
I don't even know them.
The $46,000,
I will not even know
the $46,000, you didn't get some.
Oh, but I mean, what can is it not an insult? If you are talking of that contract, that millions of dollars, so you want to reduce me, Sorogo, that $46,000 should be shared among 18 MPs plus I was supporting 6 staff, $1,700, 2,000. But even if I needed money, and you know my situation, I will come to you, and from time to time, I mean, if I needed serious money, you know it. We are working together, and I call you, I get ideas from you about how we can run the petroleum downstream. So please, and you know who I am. I would never shortchange Ghana because of this. No, please.
I see. So if Yoko or OSP should invite you now,
I am ever ready. I've said it a number of times, 1,000 times. They should invite me tomorrow. I'm ready to come. If only they have time to waste on $46,000 alleged. You are also saying that the names are there. I'm waiting to see the judgment in which Sorogo's name has been mentioned as having received money. You know, and that is why I'm saying that when you people are discussing it, look, let us be mindful that we also have feelings. I also have family members. My children are calling me from everywhere around the world. Daddy, what is happening? It is not fair to us, at least. Also believe in some of us and say that, look, let's investigate. But don't conclude that it is something that happened. This is somebody who has been, why is it that the NPP came to power all this time? And me, Sorogo, the way I am, I'm still sitting here. Please, I beg you, I am ever ready. Any investigative body that invites me, I'm ready to appear and assist them 100%.
Okay, thank you. Alhaj Amadou Bukari Sorogo is a former chair of this Mines and Energy Committee. during this was the 6th Parliament, right, when this matter came before that and this AXA deal. He mentioned a number of names, and these are the persons we're talking about.
Just a very important information. You see, I was a member of the advisory board for the Ministry of Energy, but I think this transaction happened under the Ministry of Power. I was not part. You know,
Thank you.
I just realized that but of course every gentleman there is known is known. But I beg you, let's be careful not to be strategically distracted into just chasing where the 1 million went or did not just go. It's important. I think the bigger thing that as a country we should be focused on right now is how we can recover our cost and our lost funds. And that must come from us leveraging this corrupt act by AXA, as established by the U.S. court, to relook that contract. And if it's possible, claim what? Is it damages or whatever it is? All right? We have paid people $750 million. They've given us 16% of the work. We've given them 100% of the money if we are supposed to follow what
what you just said, right?
Yes.
Is what really triggers the question. When Mahamadu Bawumia says that they did a very good work for Ghana.
I understand.
How did you do a good work?
No, be careful.
How is that? How does that amount to a good work?
Let me explain. He's right when he says they will only work with the technical reports that come. He's right. They are not energy experts in its entirety. I'm coming. He's right when he says that. That's why Parliament's processes require public participation.
Did they listen to the public?
That is the part that we should rather seek clarity from. Because I was quite surprised, though, that he was saying he wasn't even sure who ASEP was relative to this conversation. So that's the part.
Did they check the
you really want to look at.
Wait.
But I beg you, let me finish. Please, you deal with your good work matter. That's not my matter.
Over a case that has cost us over $700 million.
I'm interested in
when they produce only 16%.
No, it's not good work. So let me.
How is that?
It's not good work. But I'm just telling you, and I'm speaking now as an economic policy analyst. We can easily get caught by the emotions of the who has dropped what, which is often Ghana is a bigger problem, and they will lose sight of the bigger picture. The bigger picture for me here is that we have an opportunity to claw back all that 750 million or more. You understand? And government should not lose sight of it. Okay. While you are doing investigation over who was compromised in the process, if at all, we must take what is defined now. AXA has been established to have participated in the process of corruption over a contract that we all sit back today and realize that Ghana may possibly have been shortchanged. The dispatches were 16%. We paid 750 million. Experts are telling us that the cost of this whole thing should not go in excess of 100 million. And let's even take that. That act of corruption, we should not lose sight of the opportunity to claw back monies that can transform the lives of our people. Catch the people, deal with that. It's your passion. It's also all of us our passion.
Okay.
But let's not lose sight of the economic policy opportunity that we currently have.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.